Paul Daner, Mark Shalafoo, from listener questions to some running gags. Insider stories, ambush light, that dad life and respect for flags. Kick off the weekend, alright? It's the Growler Friday Show, it's Who Dey Light.
All right, welcome to the latest edition of Who Dey Light. Paul Daner Jr., Mark Shalafoo here with you on a Friday, not just any Friday, Mark. Memorial Day weekend. Pools are opening. School is ending. It's all happening. It's all happening. Summer is here. It's Who Dey Light summer, because when the summer hits, we thrive.
This is our time, and it's going to be an exciting summer for us. What kind of flag do you fly to start the summer? Do you have one with like a teacher that's just day drunk or something on it?
It's, you know what? It's actually a little point of debate in our house right now. Because we like, I know. We like to go with flip-flop fun to sort of promote the opening of pools and, hey, summer's here, but it's cold.
Yeah,
so
it is.
We were a little torn. Like, is it weird? Am I sending the wrong message to people that we think it's warm even though it's cold? You can't really flip-flop fun suggest it's hot. We're going to hop in the pool. The pools are opening. We were going to hop in the pool. It's the weekend of hopping in the pool, but you can't. So we were really torn, and so it's still just sitting at the Oakley neighborhood flag right now. It's a little bit of
so that's the alternative. Yeah, you just punted on it. That's not even like a
for the moment. Look, maybe tomorrow I can feel a little bit better as the temperatures go up a little bit. But
that's the official start of summer, though, is when we see the flip flop fun flag.
It's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good, like, lighthearted summer. Let's hit the pool moment. That's all.
That's good.
Yeah, it is good.
I don't like all the alliteration in it. The flip-flop fun flag.
That's what it says. Like, that's what the flag says. I can't help it. That's what it says. It's fine. I do want to remind you before we got a lot of stuff we're going to get into. We got our favorite stories of the week. You guys had tons of good questions that are all over the place. And like I said, this is our time of year where Who Dey Light is here for whatever's been on your mind. The weirder, the better. We like to do it. And so appreciate everybody that's sending all those. We've got a weird story of the week. We got a Growl Pal Spotlight, which we kind of talked about a little bit also on Wednesday. Dad life, all of it coming your way. Looking forward to getting into all of that. Before we do, you mentioned Memorial Day weekend. It's a big weekend down at the stadium at the Great American Ballpark. And if you're going to Reds Cubs this weekend, you know where you're starting. You're starting at BetMGM, Nation Kitchen and Bar down at the Banks. A great spot to start it off. Get some bets in. Have a cookie. Have 8. Have 8 allegedly.
Yeah,
allegedly, potentially. We'll see. It's a great time down there, stopping there. But we're going to be doing all our live shows. We kind of was out getting our live show schedule set. I'm excited about a couple of the new things we're going to do with our live shows next year, which are going to be a lot of fun. But when you get down there, you can be hooked up by us, though. We're giving away money, and you got to get your app, because we're going to be doing stuff all year where you guys can win extra special offers each week as we make our bets. So if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code Growler and you'll get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here is how it works. Let me tell you how it works. You download the BetMGM app and you sign up using the bonus code Growler. You deposit at least $10, and then you will place your first wager on any game. You will receive the same bet amount, up to $1,500 in bonus bet. If your bet loses, just make sure you use the bonus code Growler when you sign up. Getting you money, protecting you, Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code Growler and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Okay, with that said, let's talk about it, Mark. What is your favorite story of the week?
Well, you know how much we love talking about vibes on this show, how important that is. And so right now I'm kind of putting Trays of Our Lives on the back burner. I haven't really paid too much attention to that. What I did enjoy seeing, though, was Jamar Chase and T. Higgins showing up at Kings Island with the entourage, really hitting up all the roller coasters and the games and all that kind of stuff. I like the tone that they're setting. They both signed their deals. Now they're like putting down some roots here. Let's see what this city's all about. And I'm hoping that this is just a start of a larger trend, right? They do the whole Cincinnati tour this summer. Let's get them at a church festival playing dollar blackjack. Let's get them on a BB riverboat cruise, and get those photos in there. We could get them at the Reds, get them out in the bleachers, just on a good random June day for the Reds. I don't know what else we should. What else should we throw into their tour here? Quintessential Cincy summer.
Quintessential Cincy summer. I mean, we know Trey Hendrickson might be at the zoo. He's a big fan of the zoo.
He is right? A big fan of the zoo.
That's already out there. So maybe he's already there. But you got to assume you're going there. We know Trey also likes the Milford Nature Center, so maybe they could go join him and go for a long walk and talk about how to fix this with him. But I think you're right. There's a lot of places to go. I think you're Smale Park, right? Like, is you going to do like a little afternoon in Smale Park? Maybe they lay out a blanket, have a little picnic out there in Smale Park. Jamar and T just sitting there.
Yeah.
Having a couple blanket, of just taking it in.
Some hot dogs.
The basket with the sandwiches in it.
That would be great. Just
Washington Park, music hall.
I mean, I would love seeing them at a church festival. That's just quintessential Cincy stuff right there, playing some blackjack. I'm sure nobody would. You'd need a lot of entourage there to keep people away from you as you're at the gaming tables trying to win $2 a hand.
I just have this vision of them walking up to Bars and Bells and just picking up the entire bucket and being like, whatever this costs, we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take all these pull tabs. I think the bigger concern is that
you would lose. You definitely. There's no winners. You're not winning. I hope you understand that. That's not how this works.
I think what you're going to have is T and Jamar at the blackjack tent. That's where the real players are. They're playing the $1, $2 a hand, whatever the church is doing. The bigger concern is if Jermaine Burton is still with them, like he was at Kings Island. He's the one that's at the pull tabs just by himself with a huge stack, just the pile of garbage growing at his feet as he continues to lose. That's the risk, because that's the closest to slot machines that we get there.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It's the ultimate loser. You know what I need? T and Jamar, they're playing the little left-right center. I'm a left-right center guy.
Oh, yeah.
Your church festival is real if you've got the left-right center. And also if you have the late-night high-stakes left-right center is really the key. That's when the real ballers come out. It's like 11:15. The guy who's been running it all night is like, look, let's go. How about we go? Everybody puts down 5 or 15 and we just really get a really lucrative pot going. And all of a sudden T and Jamar just come on over from the blackjack tent to get in on a little, somebody say high stakes.
Yeah.
Let's play $1,000 a hand.
I would love that. Let's keep this going. That's the biggest thing. I like seeing them at Kings Island, really enjoying what the city has to offer in the summer. Keep the good vibes going. Keep doing your little field trips, Jamar and T. It's good for our morale. It's good for the vibes. It's good for the city.
Yes, love it.
What's yours?
I'm going to Kings Island. I'm going to Kings Island this afternoon. We're going there today. So I will look out for them or any other Bengals that are involved.
How big is your entourage?
There's
you
4
have
of
a lot
us.
of security guards around you and everything.
Not as many.
Okay.
Not quite as large of an entourage for us. Just the 4 of us hanging on for dear life.
Well, if anybody's listening to this morning and also going to Kings Island, go grab a picture of Paul there. Me, the paparazzi guy that's following around your huge crew.
It might not have the same viral nature on the internet as Jamar and T did. My favorite story of the week is one that Jay and I didn't really. It's kind of been a topic that we've obviously talked a lot about here, but we didn't really talk about the latest turn of it on Wednesday, and that was Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor on Tuesday voicing their schedule displeasure. Look, we will not go quietly into the night, right? They're not going to sit there and just take it. Just take this schedule stuff and not getting the home primetime games. They're going to speak out because usually you get we'll play anywhere. I'll play you in a parking lot, right? That's usually what the type of stuff you get when the schedule comes out. We don't care. Line them up. We'll take them out, right? And that's fine. This wasn't that. This was Joe being like, look, I want to play home primetime games. Like, why am I not getting these? I want to play internationally. Why am I not getting these? And if anybody does move the needle, I do think, it's not going to be us pointing this out. It's not going to be the Bengals saying things. Whether it's through back channels, it's going to be when Joe Burrow says something. And what happens? There it is. Pro Football Talk, Yahoo, NFL Network, Burrow unhappy with Bengals schedule, home prime time. You know, it's like all of that stuff that we've been talking about forever and no one cares, ends up being a lot more noted after you see Burrow speak up. And so I like that. I like the idea of, look, this is how you move the needle and show that you're not just going to sit here and say it's okay to do what they feel was being slighted a little bit by the league with the way that it went down last year and this year.
Well, when the schedule stuff came out, I found myself wishing that we had a GM that could go in front of the press and just really hammer these points home. And then I remembered we do. It's Joe Burrow. And when he did make those comments, GM Joe, you know, that really does help move the meter a little bit. And do you think that this is just something that he wouldn't have done, you know, like 2 years ago even? Do you think he's more emboldened after some of the contract stuff and stumping for his guys more? Do you think that's part of what this is?
Yeah, I think he understands his power pretty well at this point and his pull in the league. And when he speaks, people listen. And I also think he just kind of says how he feels and is kind of genuine. So I don't know. I honestly wonder. I don't know that it was necessarily calculated. It could have been. I'm sure if it's something that's been talked enough behind closed doors and everyone's open with the fact that, like, yeah, we shouldn't be afraid to say something, like, if you aren't happy about this, and we're not. So I'm sure he felt fine to talk about it, but I doubt it was a plant. I think it was just something that he's just saying what is on his mind. Someone asked about the schedule. What I think about the schedule. I don't like that I don't get home primetime games again. You know, I think that's just kind of a natural reaction. I don't think it was trying to maybe be calculated, other than just not trying to hold back about anything. So I just think he has a good feel for his power at this point. But yeah, I like it. You're not going to sit there and get anybody to do anything you want if you just take it and are quiet about it, you know?
So what do you think, like, how big of a difference do you really think this is going to make? If you had to put a percentage on it, how likely is it that they're playing a fifth straight road primetime game against the Ravens next year versus the chances that we get the Ravens at home in a primetime game? Like, which one are you leaning more towards for next season? Because they can't keep doing this, right? Like, I didn't think they were going to do it again this season.
Yeah.
And eventually it's got to stop.
They claim, you know, that the words you hear out from them is that this is actually best for everybody because they liked this schedule better as a whole because of what other games were for the Bengals and Ravens and whatever. And I don't, whatever. That's fine. I don't know that it changed. I think it changes it a little bit, but probably not a ton, but a little bit. I would put the percentages still small that it's going to make that big of a difference when they get to this point next year. Push comes to shove, and they have to make a decision on one game or the other. Will what Burrow said and them knowing it change things? I don't know. It didn't change things this year. I still think it's probably a pretty similar chance that it would have been, but they know. It's all you just want them to know and know that you'll hear it again if it happens again, and they probably are willing to deal with that, but. So it changes it a little would be my answer to that, I guess.
Yeah, you don't want that negative review from Joe Burrow.
No.
You get right. That's
no.
You better shape up next year. All right, before we jump into some of these questions that we have, that we got a ton of great ones from the Growl Pals sent to us at the growlerpodcast@gmail.com. But before we do that, we are gearing up for this next season. So part of that is finding good partners to be part of our shows and our network here. So we are still on the lookout for people that want to join up for this next season.
Yeah, we were just we talked about this a little bit with Jay on Wednesday. We just had another Stanio sale. We had another house sale. We had Michael and Rachel. Yeah, the Growl Pals. 2 Growl Pals for Stanio. So that was excited to see them come in. When we had the meeting between Danny's Detailing and Growl Pal Brian, who got together.
Was a success.
It was a success. Everyone survived. No liability issues. It was actually great. It actually went really well.
We talk about how much we love keeping the business in the family here. Stanio was a Growl Pal first before he advertised on the show. Yeah. Danny's Mobile Detailing, that was a Growl Pal spotlight. We took a chance there. We didn't know exactly much about Danny other than he listens to the show, and we assume all our listeners are pretty cool dudes. He could have been a serial killer, but guess what? He was a pretty cool dude.
He wasn't at all a serial killer,
No.
just a good guy. And so that was great. And he actually, the guy that Brian hired him to do his wife's car as well. Boom. Boom.
Business.
Because you do a good job. It's like, look, we're just here. We're just keeping it in the community. That's kind of what we want to do. We have entry points available at all levels, and we're looking for people that want to keep growing with us. And so we're really excited about some of the charity and some of the small business stuff that we've been able to have. Power Stacks is taking off. If you want to spread across multiple demographics, of course, Power Stacks just had Charlie did 6 minutes of behind the scenes pigeon coverage from Pittsburgh on yesterday's show. I was actually just saying, let's just take this 6 minutes and let's just put it onto the end of Who Dey Light, because it's where it belongs to be out there. It's unbelievable because Charlie was in Pittsburgh. I think he's the only one that saw the incidents, and everybody wanted anonymity that was involved in this. But it's great. But Power Stacks is doing awesome. The shows are incredible. So if you want to be part of that as well, we can get you hooked up with them across both of our shows. There's more coming. So just drop a line in the Growler Podcast at gmail.com if you are interested in doing anything with us, because we want to help you and kind of keep growing this community. It's been a lot of fun doing it.
We've got some big plans for this upcoming season, so we want to get our team in order first and get ready to roll on some of these. So it's going to be exciting. A lot to look forward to for us. Are you ready for some questions?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, Paul and Mark, after listening to the prosecutor and Commissioner Reese last week, how confident are you that the county and Bengals will reach a new deal? If they don't reach a deal and the Bengals exercise the 2-year option, how likely is it that the Bengals will explore moving to another city during that 2-year period?
Oh,
Who Dey Light?
Who Dey Dark is in 3 weeks, people.
Yep.
June 13th, Who Dey Dark, which I guess this will probably be have to be amongst the lead stories when we do Who Dey Dark on Friday the 13th in June. But well, it's not going well. You can say that much. I mean,
it's not going well.
It's not going well. You have the prosecutor, Connie Pillich, firing Tom Gableman with only a couple months to go before the deadline. This is not the time to be doing that. You can't restart now. The deadline is it's like a month away. You just going to start over with a whole new redoing the whole lease. I mean, hopefully. So that's not good. You got statements flying back and forth. The Bengals are attacking David Abrams, who's the Inner Circle Sports guy who's done these in other places, kind of to bring a little bit more of the national perspective on behalf of the county, right? Like, okay, this is how they don't like it. They're claiming impropriety, or people there were involved with the Browns and the Cleveland Browns, I should say. And the county's like, no. And then the statement comes back from the Bengals, and they're saying they have issues with, despite your lack of involvement or any direct knowledge of ongoing lease discussions, you took liberties last week by making public comments regarding the team and questioning the team's good faith efforts to negotiate a comprehensive agreement with the county that came from their counsel, Emma Compton. It's back and forth. It's mudslinging. It's unhappiness. It's statements. It's firings. It's not good. What's happening right now is not great, right? That's what we can say, but without going fully into the weeds. And if you want to go into the weeds, you can. There's plenty of news stories out there. It's not looking super right now. To answer your question, though, will it end up making a difference? I don't know. They're not going to look to go to another city during. I don't think that's what this is about. This isn't about the team going to Chicago or whatever. Again, we said this would be about looking into other options potentially outside of Hamilton County, obviously. I mean, they haven't ruled that out. I think that's where all of this starts. But, nobody can sit here and say anything for sure. We know right now their focus has been and continues to be on getting this deal done in Hamilton County. It's just not going well right now. And what happens after that, we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. But I don't think it would start with another city. I know that to me, that's not where this would start.
So during that 2 years, they might look at a different part of the city, like Mason or Northern Kentucky, something like that.
To me, that's the first step. To me, that's the first step when you start considering other options. It's not, going out of leaving Cincinnati totally. And that to me is not where it goes next. But
again, I'm trying to
knows?
Really just treat this like trays of our lives, throw it on the back burner, because I feel like I know where it's going to end up. Things will get worked out. The sign to me that it's not going well, though, is that I'm starting to learn the names of lawyers. Like, those are people that I should never know. Like, I'm not a big David Abrams guy. Like, why do I know his name? Emma Compton with the clap back. I'm sure she's great at what she does, but I don't want to know her name. I don't want to have to pay that close attention to this kind of thing where I'm like, oh yeah, this lawyer is important. How could they get rid of Gableman? I don't want to be into this. Just figure it out. Come on. Don't make me get invested in another dumb offseason story. I want to focus on Kings Island. I want to focus on the good vibes of T and Jamar. Kings Island is in the news for something other than people fist fighting and lying. Like, that's great. Why can't we focus on that? So I'm hoping that this stuff gets cleared up soon enough.
Let's do that. Let's move on.
All right. Next question we have here. A great start to it too. We always love how, if you're going to start your question, start them with some praise. Bruce he says, I love the show. All the great work you guys do. As a proud member of the Westerman Hive, my question is this: who are some late round Bengals draft picks you thought were going to do something and it ended up breaking your heart? Cody Core and Mario Alford are on his list. That's actually this question's from Cody. Shout out Cody. Who are the draft picks that broke your heart that you thought late round guys? We're not talking like Billy Price this year. We're talking like late round guys you thought were going to be studs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if thought were going to be studs, but I thought there was a chance. There was a moment for me. If you remember Marcus Hardison, who was from Arizona State. He was a 4th round pick, a defensive tackle. It seemed like he really started to come on his last year at Arizona State, and he ended up having an injury, and he had a pretty good preseason, his first preseason that was encouraging. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm team Marcus Hardison. I think this could end up being something. They might have done it again with the 4th round defensive lineman. I thought like maybe they found another one, and then it just there was injury, and then it just nothing ever ended up coming of poor Marcus Hardison. So that was one for me that I believed in for a minute. James Wright was a receiver and like special teams maven who I was like, man, I feel like I'm liking James Wright, and he had a couple of OTAs where he was starting to learn the receiver because he was buried behind Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry at LSU. So the thought was they found the guy who was hidden behind those 2 stars at LSU. And he did. He came in, he looked really good. And he ended up with a catastrophic knee injury, which was really sad. That kind of broke my heart because I thought he actually could have been an okay player.
Yeah, that's the worst ending to those when it's injury related, because you're like, this really could have been somebody. We were on the case on this one, and this was going to be the guy, but the injury is what set him back, not just disappointing us through his play.
Yeah, but I'll never forget the good shout out to the Westerman Hive. I will never forget the summer of Westerman and Redmond are going to turn this offensive line around. This was it. They shouldn't have been sitting the whole time, but Christian Westerman and Redmond are going to be the answer here. They were not.
Yeah, but that's the kind of optimism you need in the offseason. You really need to rally behind those guys. For me, my biggest disappointments, I thought Auden Tate was going to really be a contributor. And Andrew Billings was another one that I thought would really be good.
Billings, okay. I'm glad you said these guys. I would argue both of those are success stories.
Yeah? Why?
Not for what I had was a 7th round pick who was as slow as could be. I mean, tight end slow. And he did contribute for multiple years. He made plays to win games. There was a time where he was their number 1 receiver on a very bad team.
Yeah, that's true.
But like I would say Auden Tate was a success story as a 7th round pick. And Andrew Billings is still playing.
Not for us, not dominating for us. Like I thought,
Andrew Billings is still in this league and has had a nice career.
He's very nice.
He played solidly in Cincinnati. I thought. I mean, there was like they got a 1st round talent in Andrew Billings feel when they took him, and he wasn't that here, but he was a 4th round pick here. But he has turned out a great career. So I would say that is a success story. I don't know that you would say that it wasn't a hit, even though he didn't stay here.
Yeah, see, my thing is like he wasn't kind of the breakthrough that I thought that he would be, right? Because I bought too much into the initial hype of him, and yeah, if you have an actual NFL career, that does make you a success story, being a day 3 pick for sure. But there's still that part of me that wanted a little bit more, maybe just flash that star potential that we thought that he could have. But I'm sure that there's a bunch that we're probably forgetting. So if you have a favorite one, leave it in the comments, shoot us an email. We can revisit your broken heart draft stories throughout this offseason. We have another good question here. This is about the tush push. The Bengals stink at short yardage. It's cost them repeatedly. While the Eagles' offensive line is monstrous, a large part of the success is Hurts' legendary squatting ability. Can't the Bengals have some form of massive O-line and then just have the strongest squatter on the team under center to specialize in their own form of short yardage play? I mean, there's a position of long snapper, a real specialization. Surely there'd be a way to craft a more potent unit. It seems like a little bit of creativity here could yield some great results. So do you think that the Bengals could integrate their own tush push?
They have kind of. So they've done the tight end motion sneaks a couple times. Tanner Hudson, I think, has done one. I think, what you might start to see is some of the designated tush pushers, maybe, where it is tight ends or somebody like that. They've got to be comfortable taking a snap under center because you worry about that exchange.
The first time that goes south, you can't. That whole thing gets blown up. The first time there's a key fumble on like 4th and 1 on your own 35. Like
how many times you've been watching a game and a new center comes in or a backup quarterback comes in and there's a fumbled exchange immediately, right? So if you're not doing those all the time, you can worry about it. But you've seen some of that, where your teams start using these tight ends or other guys to be the one that gets under center. And if it's everybody knows what you're doing anyway, you should be able to put in whoever you want to. So yeah, I would think that would be something I think you'll see a little bit more of across the league next year is the idea of a designated tush pusher under center who can be good at that. So yeah, that certainly makes sense. Something you'll see. And if that starts happening and you start having everybody's doing this and starting to have success using designated tush pushers, that will pass and it will get banned next year.
I'm sure there's probably already like youth peewee football coaches trying to do their own tush push just to gain whatever advantages they can. But I could see that as being like, if you're a fringe draft pick guy, college player, maybe you specialize in that at the college level. That's your niche to find a way onto an NFL roster. And then they'll probably just make it illegal in 2 years and just ruin your entire career anyway. But it could be your chance before
your chance.
All right, let's move on to our next question. Paul and Mark, I just need to say the podcast is a transcendent blend of wisdom, wit, and houday gospel. It's not just must-listen Bengals content. It's spiritual nourishment for anyone who's ever screamed at a 4th and 1 telegraph scream to Jamar. That said, I've got a question. Do we ever lose free agents because of the front office's offers come with AARP memberships and Shell gas cards instead of actual money? Do you know of any extent? Because before you come here that any extensions will be met with unrealistic negotiations. Do you think that is having an effect on free agents? Just the fact that, the front office does have these problematic contract negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, I think that does happen where they're not always just going to be willing to go there with now, and sometimes they have, and it has backfired. Trey Waynes would be a good example where they knew they had to overpay and take a hit, and they did, even though maybe just because they had to get somebody and they end up paying for it. You don't, and so maybe there's times like that you feel burnt, but you've still got to be better at that. I think it hurts them sometimes. Not all the time, because I think it's hard to say specifically, but I think there's a lot of these that they get into and they get them done. Like they've gotten a lot of contracts done. They've signed guys in free agent. They've been aggressive early in free agency multiple times and had no problem getting those done. So I don't think that it's as big of an issue as maybe they're just missing on everybody. Sometimes, Sometimes they're not willing to go to places the rest of the league is, or go a little extra for a player, and maybe that's part of what went down this particular free agency period, which was obviously not great. But I think for them, they've had plenty of seasons where they have had success in free agency and been able to get there. They're never going to be the team that's going to go out there and overextend and sell, buy at huge levels. They're just not going to live that way. But I do think that you'll see them miss out every now and then because they're not going to move off their value. And if they just moved off it a little bit, they could get a guy. That's more where I see the issue is the middle level guy that you're not willing to just go a touch extra.
And it's tough because you also don't know all the stories about guys they miss out on, because that's not always like super public stuff like these. If you're trying to extend a guy, you're going to have these battles. You're going to have Jamar showing up in his hat, or T. Higgins says this out to the media, his agent or whatever. Like, you're going to have those stories. But for other just free agents, you're not going to know what mid-level guy you missed out on because we weren't willing to spend the extra $1 million that in retrospect looked like a great idea. So not knowing some of those is probably some of it. But if you're an agent, I don't know that you're too worried about it. If you're negotiating with a team and you get a deal done, you probably feel pretty confident that if you needed to, you could get a second deal done. Like you already had a big win there for your guy. And I've heard an agent say before that, like, about the Bengals specifically, that, they are going to pay out their contracts. They're pretty loyal. They're going to, pay you through the end of your deal. And that's not always the case. We've seen them cut some guys and, take away money from some guys. Pay cut some guys for sure. But I guess there is still that idea out there that it's, even though they don't do things the way that some teams do with contracts and structure, that they are a team that's going to pay their guys what they say they're going to pay their guys.
Yeah, I think that was maybe more the case previous. I think they have changed a little bit where there's a lot more willingness to move on, pay cut than there used to be. But there is probably a little bit more loyalty from them and a chance of you living out the entirety of your contract here than some other places. That said, I mean, let's not pretend that they're out here not making these moves and cutting and pay cutting and all this stuff. I mean,
as they should. Those are moves you should probably be making.
That's what the league is. Like, no one's hating on them, but I think our days of like giving them credit of you'll definitely get all that money here, I don't know that totally applies anymore, but I do think it did before. I mean, there were plenty of examples, Robert Gathers, Leon Hall, that Michael Johnson, of guys that teams would have probably moved on from, but there was loyalty at the end, and they wanted those guys to play out the rest of their contract. Those guys, for the most part, don't stick around here anymore. Not in this current era.
Our next question. Well, all right, this guy, just to start off, he had like 5 different questions in this email. We appreciate well thought out emails. I'm not going to try and dissuade against that. But he had 5 great ones. We could have probably done an entire episode about that. But we pick one. We'll go with one, and we'll save a few of these for later. He says, seeing the Trays of Our Lives logo pop back up had me dying to hear somebody or anybody in the media talk about this or bring it up as it relates to the Brown Blackburns constantly not hitting the easy button with things that shouldn't be difficult. Today, I saw the Steelers and the city of Pittsburgh promoting their new countdown clock for the 2026 NFL Draft being hosted by Pittsburgh. Earlier this year, Roger Goodell even referenced that they want cities that can't host a Super Bowl, like the cold weather cities, to host the draft. So just like everything, it finally hit me that literally every Midwest, Mid-Atlantic NFL team has hosted or is scheduled to host an NFL draft since they began doing this, with the exception of the Cincinnati Bengals. That's right. Green Bay, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Kansas City, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and now Washington, D.C. And no, I didn't forget the Colts. They've hosted Super Bowls and also get the Combine every single year. So why is this? Why does everything have to be 31-1 with the Blackburns in the minority? Are they at capacity with their small front office to lobby for all of this stuff? Is the NFL just coin flipping them again? Because, of course, the Bengals are the only Midwest team to not be in the mix.
It's a great observation, and it's true. Now, they have been, it's not for lack of effort. I could go back and unearth a story that my old partner Jim Ozarski did at the Inquirer in probably 2017, I would guess, about the Bengals pushing to get the NFL draft in Cincinnati. It was I remember him getting all those details, and it was like, man, they're aggressive. They really want to do this. The league's moving these drafts around. They want to be part of it. They have been trying for a long time. I think they're hampered by the hotel situation. Now, what happened with the 2015 All-Star game as a success across the board as an example, but when the league is comparing all of these other cities and you have issues happening with your downtown, whether it's arena, whether it's hotels, whether it's all, if you've been downtown, the construction everywhere that's going on, the convention center, all of that stuff not being done or completed factors in when they are trying to pick this place to bring in. You guys see the crowds. They're made perfect. I mean, Smale Park and the Brady and Paycor and the Banks, all of that there is 100%, the type of place that's perfect for the draft. It's where you'd want it to be. You can see it all full now, right? Mm-hmm. But you know what? That construction facility, or what, you had a hilltop over there, still there now, just now being demolished. It's like, if you're looking at it and you're the NFL, it's like, look, do you want hilltop right next to the practice fields when you're showing the shot over the drone shot of everybody at the draft? Like, no, you don't have to worry about that stuff. You want the convention center completed, hotels, like all this stuff that's currently in the works not being done does hurt them when you're in these conversations. And now the Bengals they're back at it again. They're trying again. And I think some of these things won't be in the way. And maybe it's a little drop in the bucket of said county negotiations of, look, adding to the economic impact. We get this thing done and we complete and get renovations going on the stadium and show that we're staying here. The draft will come with it. And that'll be a big one too. I think all of that is certainly plausible and a part of this. So I think that it's been harder. I'm not going to hold this one totally against them as an easy button. That I think they've known and tried to push the bet button. But I think there is some stuff that has been working against them.
And, we've got Joe Burrow trying to voice his displeasure with the schedule. I think this is another bonus of T and Jamar's summer tour, showing off all the great parts of Cincinnati and like all the fun things that our city's known for, just to remind the people in the league that this is a great city that can host a lot of visiting fans. Now, Mark, let me just say this. So Mark sent these 5 questions. The 5th one, I do want to bring up this one too. I'm sneaking in a second one from the same email, only because I'm also this is Disney related. And I go to Disney a week from Tuesday, I guess, is our trip. So we're coming up on our big Disney excursion. So he says, I saw the Disney viral video going around about a dad documenting how much he spent in a day. Thankfully, I've not seen this video because I don't know that I want to see that. But he wants you to follow up on the Lightning Lane pass that he recommends. Is it true that this only works on 3 attractions? And if so, how is that worth it?
Well, yes, it is true. 3 attractions at a time. So ahead of time, you can get in on your 3 things that you definitely want to do. All right. And then for every one that you do, it opens up a spot to Lightning Lane something else. And you can see what's open, what's available, and find other things that you want to do and be able to time that out with your day. So it's not only 3 over the course of your entire day. It's the 3 top priority for you that you can get. And then after that, you're adding on to kind of plot out the rest of your day. So you figure out your favorites. And I'll say this, is it worth it? Go spend 90 minutes to go ride some silly ride that goes through an indoor area with some dancing mascots that lasts 45 seconds or 60 seconds and come out, and you tell me if it's worth it. You tell me. Go stand in line at Epcot to go on the Frozen Elsa ride, okay? In the baking hot sun in June for 90 minutes. And you tell me if it's worth it, okay? Do it one time and then tell me your opinion on the Lightning Lane. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. There is no price for me because I can't, it's ruining my experience in every way, shape, and form, and my children and all of ours. Your day sucks now. You do that line. If you do the lines 3 times rather than just bite the bullet and pay, it has ruined your experience. And what are you here for? You're here for a good experience. You got to just take it as it's expensive. It's sunken cost. Don't go to Disney if you don't want to go be willing to go pay money for stuff, because that's what it is. It's you're paying a lot for a lot, and your experience can be great. And Lightning Lane is a perfect example of that. Yes, it's like, oh, are we really? And then you sit in that line one time and you're like, we're really, we need to.
I mean, that's nice to buy back a couple hours into your day like that.
Yes.
Just you can do other stuff and you check off the important things. Here's our 2 rides we wanted to do today. Let's make sure we knock out both of these. And then you've got a lot of flexibility. You can find the ride that's only got the 20-minute rate and just sit through the 20-minute wait, and then you get to do the ride, and then find something else that's 40 minutes. Well, you're not as mad because you did get onto the really busy ones that had 90-minute waits, 2-hour waits with your Lightning Lanes. And you beat the system a little bit.
There are no rides that you're going to come away and be like, that ride made Disneyland great. No, your children's happiness is what makes Disneyland great. And nothing brings more happiness than not standing in lines. You need to avoid the lines at all costs. That is what matters more than anything. That's what brings true joy and happiness as far as I'm concerned.
Our next question is from Kevin. He says, Paul and Mark, love your work. Have been listening since before the Growler was a thing. Not sure how that works, but I'm a lifelong Bengals fan, born and raised in Cincy, and used to own a house near Zips Cafe. Very cool.
Shout out Zips. Love it.
I was curious if you guys are going to be doing any Bengals get-togethers or brewery tours before the Broncos game. It would be a great opportunity to get a bunch of Colorado Bengals fans together. That is from Kevin. I kind of like that question, because it opens a good avenue to do some Growl Pal meetups around the country.
I like that. No, I like that too. I mean, I love the idea of whether it's on, the Saturday night or the mornings before games or whatever. I mean, if the Bengals are coming to your town and there's a Bengals bar or some place that you go to, email us, Growler Podcast, thegrowlerpodcast@gmail.com. And let us know, and maybe we can throw together some happy hours or do something like that when we're on the road. That would be fun. So yeah, I don't know all of the places to go to, and I don't know where there are particular good Bengal bar strongholds everywhere on the schedule this year. So if you do know of one and you're a listener, or you just want to try to do something when we come to town, just send us a message, and yeah, we're open to throwing some stuff together, see if we can figure some stuff out. I love it.
Some Growl Pal happy hours. I will say that I've gotten to informally meet up with a few Growl Pals when I've been on the road for stand-up. I watched a game with somebody in Vegas, watched hoops with a Growl Pal in North Carolina. So it's always fun to get to see the people out there on the road. So maybe we can make some stuff happen this season. We'll see. We got to see on that. Our next question, he says, Mark and Paul, love the show. I need to call out that Mark's comedic personality has been a great addition to the Bengals content game over the past year. Great start to the email. My favorite bit from the past year has been Mark's constant ribbing of Paul's fantastic Miles Murphy 10 sack season prediction. My question, Paul, what is your bold 2025 season prediction that Mark will ultimately be holding over your head for the next 12 months?
I love that we can never go a show without this getting brought up in some capacity.
Yeah, it's obligatory at this point to get the Miles
Murphy
it's
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Can I say mine first? I'm gonna go out on a limb this season. I'll take some heat for this. I'm going Shamar Stewart over 4.5 sacks. He's gonna beat his entire college production this season for the Bengals. That's the hill that I'm gonna die on.
Disruption is production. That's the Al Golden motto that we hear. They keep talking about disruption and disruption. So ball disruption, quarterback disruption. Shamar Stewart's going to bring disruption, and that's going to bring the sacks. He's going to hit 4.5. I certainly could see that. I don't think that's crazy. My thing that will get used against me is probably whatever my Miles Murphy sack prediction ends up being for this year. Because I've told everybody this. There's only one way out of this hole, and that's by doubling down. I'm in it until they cut him. Okay, I'm going to have to. I have no other way out, and I still think there's hope. He's going to play more. He's going to have opportunity. So whatever that number ends up being, I'm not locked in on it yet. I'm not going to go double digit. I can tell you that much, but I would probably be willing to go in the 7.5 range, but that is not my official number yet. So don't go using it against me, but I think he could probably reach like a Hubbard-ish season over there. I feel like.
New coaching, maybe he does finally get that breakthrough season. And
I still think it's coming. I'm not out. I'm just not out. I'm just not out on Miles Murphy.
Imagine how sweet that vindication will be for you if he does come up with this 8-sack season, 9-sack. That's going to feel good.
The detriment that has been done to my entire image over this, over the pounding of the table against me on this is too much. There's almost, it doesn't even matter. There's no vindication that's enough at this point.
The night is darkest just before the dawn, Paul. It's coming for you. You're going to be championing the cause, and everybody will hail you as a hero for getting it right this time. Are you ready for an ambush light question?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, run, pass, or boot the following. Which of these do you think is the best way to provoke a shark? Wearing a seal costume, punching it in the face, or dumping a bucket of bait?
Yeah, so, this is from Trey Hendrickson talking about provoked shark attacks and us wondering what exactly that is. A provoked shark attack. Man, I would say the best way to provoke a shark would probably be the one that has me closest to it. So punching it in the face, I would definitely say that's probably the one, right? Because am I dumping a bucket of bait on myself?
Yeah, that's the thing. The shark's gonna eat the bait in the water. It's not gonna eat.
That's the whole point of bait. That's what bait is over here. Shark.
Yeah.
Right. And so wearing a seal costume, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I just think he's at least not near me in that exact moment. If I'm punching it in the face, I am essentially touching the mouth of a shark. That's not good. So I think that's clearly here.
I think you're close on this, but I've got a daughter who's obsessed with sharks and shark research, and she's part of the Newport Aquarium Shark Conservation Group. So she's very into the world of that stuff. She would tell you it's the seal costume, far and away. And that most shark attacks are because sharks think that humans are something else, and they don't like the taste of our blood. And so they don't keep eating you after they bite in and realize, oh, you're not a seal. So if you're dressing up like the seal, that is, you're asking for it at that point, even more than the punch, even more than the bait bucket dump. Like, yeah, if you're going to try and trick it into being a seal, you deserve to get bit.
I wonder why your daughter is so obsessed with understanding sharks herself. Maybe because her father sent her out into shark infested waters on vacation. That, like, look, if I'm going to be getting put into these situations by my dad, I'm going to have to be really intelligent in understanding their patterns.
I thought it was a dolphin. It was going to be a magical vacation memory. It could have happened to anybody. There hadn't been shark attacks on that Gulf beach in 20 years. How did I know it was going to end up on CNN? Things happen on vacation.
Things happen.
You're just trying to make some good memories.
Just trying to make that was definitely going to be a memory.
Yeah, you throw your kids in the path of a shark sometimes.
I love the idea. I love the idea that she, like, this ends up being her career, as she just becomes the ultimate researcher in breakthroughs in shark safety. And then when she's accepting her Nobel Prize, it's just because of the time my dad tried to feed me to sharks, and I decided I would dedicate my life to being smarter about this.
That's more encouragement for anyone listening to this to go ahead and throw your kids in the shark-infested waters. They're going to become better humans because of it.
That's right.
Sink or swim. Just don't throw them in a seal costume. That's my only advice after this year of research that she's done. Shout out Newport Aquarium because they do a great job with that program. Are you ready for a Growl Pal Spotlight?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Grandpa Spotlight.
Sticking with Hobson's golf thing, right? That's coming up next week.
Next Friday, a week from today. We had Butchie on Wednesday. I highly recommend going back and listening to that. And I know if you go to our socials, if you follow the Growler Podcast on Twitter or on Instagram or TikTok, all the places, I know we have that up there, him speaking about what that's about, and it's a great cause. It's going to be a ton of fun. The Bengals auction items are awesome. I saw we had a couple emailers in already this morning that want to know how they can get their hands on some of those auction items. It was Jamar Chase's gloves signed. There was T. Higgins cleats, I think it was. There's all kinds of stuff. Bengals rated. If you're playing it, you get an Anthony Munoz signed photo. There's all this stuff. I'm playing in it if you want to come by, but you can search the Jack Hobson Memorial Golf Classic and Google that and go there. It benefits Children's Heart Foundation. It's going to be awesome. It's at Legendary Run, shotgun start next Friday morning on May 30th. So if you're open, you want to register a team, you want to sponsor a hole, you want to donate to a great cause, go to the Jack Hobson Memorial Golf Classic page. It's in the show notes if you're looking for a link, go in the show notes or on the QR code, and you can go check that out. So we're pushing that this week to get people involved in that, in a great cause.
We even had somebody emailing because they just want to donate. They can't play, but they want to help support the cause, and I'm sure that they will take those as well. So we can get that connected, get that worked out. Maybe I'll get a team together. There's still registration's still open, so we've got a week here. Maybe I'll assemble a super team to get out there and win the event. Because I need ringers on my team is what I need to make up for my golfing. I golf, 6 times a year. So I'm going to need some help on that front. Are you ready for our favorite weird story of the week?
Let's go weird story. We're trying to get weird story of the week to become a thing. We had the Meth Raccoon. I think we should name it the Meth Raccoon weird story of the week. I think it should be named after the Meth Raccoon, which is one of my favorite stories of all time.
What was his name? He had a weird name. Chewy, the Meth Raccoon. Gosh. R.I.P. Chewy. I can only assume he's dead, that they put him down, but maybe not. Maybe Chewy's still perfectly healthy. Do they have Meth Raccoon rehab? Is that something that a vet does where they've got like a support group?
Raccoon rehab.
I was like, it was so embarrassing. I was on a viral video.
In today's world, you got to feel like a bunch of junky raccoons in some sort of a, facility would be. It sounds like a reality show on Bravo, honestly, I think.
Yeah, definitely not a good Disney Plus cartoon. No. But today's
Raccoon rehab.
It's the next Bluey. Come on, kids. Learn about bad decisions. Our favorite weird story of the week this week is a Kentucky mom letting her 8-year-old play with her phone. What did he do with her phone? He ordered 70,000 Dum Dum Suckers from Amazon. She didn't realize Amazon was the app that he was going to be playing with. She didn't realize this until the cases of suckers started showing up on her door. And I think eventually she was able to cancel the last few shipments. But the kid said he wanted to do a carnival. And so he needed prizes for his carnival and somehow ordered thousands of dollars worth of Dum Dum Suckers.
So it ended up being $4,000 that in suckers. That's wild.
I love
my whole thing is how far in it took her to realize, and it says here 22 cases. So where was she at case 10?
Yeah.
Like you're just thinking, oh, this is normal. Like whatever this is. It took until 22 cases were on the front porch.
You've got 15 cases of suckers and you're like, this is normal. This is exactly how I expected my day to go. Maybe we'll get a few more cases of suckers. I don't exactly remember what I did last night, but yeah, this is not totally out of the realm of craziness. And then 22 is when it finally clicks that something has gone on here.
Something's gone on here. I think we need to step in. It's definitely a top 5 worry when the kid has the phone or grabs it. Because I will play Wordle or whatever, stuff like that, or the mini crosswords. My kids like to do that stuff, and they'll use my phone for it, and that's fine. But then you get pulled away doing something else, and you come back and you just see that they're no longer on Wordle. You don't even know where they're at. It's like, oh, this is what happens next. I don't like this at all. I'm always concerned about something not quite this, but you just never know. And it's like, am I going to have to go back into text messages and be like, tell my boss, sorry, I sent you the sun emoji and the clown emoji. You're probably there trying to figure it out right now.
Yeah, a lot of weird gifts that get sent out. That's the problem. It's because you think, all right, a kid's going to play on a phone, they'll play a game or something like that. Okay, fine. It's not maybe it's not perfect for their little brains, but it will distract them for a while. Who cares? You're not thinking about, oh, they could go onto Amazon and just start buying vacuum cleaners by the pallet, and all of a sudden you're out an enormous amount of money. I wish I could say the Dum Dum Sucker story, as funny as this is, I've seen similar stories. Other kids that have taken their parents' phone, and maybe they really wanted the SpongeBob ice cream from the ice cream truck. So the kid ordered 3,000 of them. And that sort of thing happens because these kids, they're great with phones. They're bad at math. And so they just throw in a crazy number. And all of a sudden you've got 70,000 suckers showing up at your door. And the thing you have to do with this is you have to create a big stink about it and talk to the local TV station. And because you need that press before Amazon's going to be like, all right, clearly something happened. We'll give you your money back, whatever. But I do think they should still have the carnival. They probably let them keep the suckers, right? Like, let's have the community carnival. Let's let this kid have a happy ending here.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's what they should have. That's the answer. Now that this has become a story, it's Dum Dum. It's time for a Dum Dum festival. Let's go. Bring everybody in. I think the crowdfunding could help support this and help get it back.
I'm really starting to think that live shows, we should just get 70,000 Dum Dum Suckers just down there at BetMGM and just
crowd roll in.
Charlie can eat 8 cookies. Can he eat 70,000 Dum Dum Suckers? We will see. That'll be the most boring eating contest you'll ever see as he just slowly goes through all those suckers.
Where are you at?
Stand next? Up. So I'm off this weekend, which is very nice. Last weekend I did a big benefit for Cincy Animal Care. And it was part of a show with Shelter Me on PBS. So it was a unique comedy experience after 15 years. We had dogs in the audience, dogs on the stage. So that was a new one for me. But I did my hero work. So I'm off this week and then going out of town. After that, I'm starting to pick back up the tour. I'll be in Appleton, Wisconsin in June, coming to Vegas later this year. And I'm starting to add a bunch of cities. So if there's a city you think I should come to, I know we talked about Growl Pound meetups. So if you live in a city with a good comedy club, shoot me an email and maybe I'll try and throw that on the list here. In the meantime, you can just check out my stuff on Spotify or check out the special on Dry Bar or Nateland. Those are the things I would direct you to.
Love it. Appleton, there's a lot of people who have realized how hard it is to get a hotel in Appleton. Who are trying to go to the Packers Bengals game, and it is not easy. But I don't know if you are having the same pull in selling out hotels in Appleton, but I do know that they fill up quickly.
I think people can still travel to see me in Appleton, so it's not too late to book your vacation plans.
Not too
late.
Go to Wisconsin. You can get in now. Let's see, Dad Life. What do you got going on for Dad Life?
So soccer season finally wrapped up Monday with all the rainouts this season, and it was a good one for us. We had 2 of our 3 teams did really well and went undefeated. And you can here's my thing that I've learned is that you can just kind of tell how your season's going to go just based on the team name. So we had the Lightning Strike. Those were our 5-year-olds. They picked a really intense name, and they crushed everybody. The biggest problem on that team is that they were too good at math. So they were very insistent about adding up all their goals. Oh, that's 8 goals for us, 1 goal for them. And I'm like, guys, shut up. We're not keeping score here. Let's not rub it in. So I had to deal with some trash talking. And then our Pink Panthers, they had a great season as well, undefeated. That was the U10 team. And the only team I had that didn't go undefeated was my U12s. Their team name was the Cheetos. And I think that you could kind of see that coming, right? Panthers, Lightning Strike. Yeah, they're going to be teams you're scared of. The Cheetos doesn't really strike fear into the heart too much. But they still have a good group of kids and a good season for the Cheetos. Just not as good as the Lightning Strike and the Panthers.
Any consideration towards getting a mascot involved with the Cheetos as in the cheering section and getting a Chester Cheeto costume that someone could dress up and be there every game supporting the team? Maybe that would have helped morale.
Yes, it would have. And I did look into that. I tried to find one that I could make the assistant coach wear every time we scored a goal or something like that is, to extra motivation for these kids to get the ball in the back of the net. And couldn't find anything that was cheap enough. I'm not going to drop a few $100s on this, even though I would love to see him in a full professional mascot costume. But that's definitely always a good sports move to make if you are a coach, is getting the assistant to have to dress up into some ridiculous costume. One year, I think this was another championship team, the Jellyfish. I got a big jellyfish hat that the assistant coach had to wear every time we scored a goal. So that was great because he scored 50, and she had it on all the time. But
I have a giant buffalo wing hat that looks like it could be a Cheeto that you could wear on your head. I wish I would have known this. I probably could have. It's very Cheeto-y, even though it is definitely a buffalo wing, but that could, if you guys end up sticking with the Cheetos next year, if that shows back up.
I mean, what about the buffalo wings? That's a better name. If we're going with food, buffalo wings is a little bit more fun than Cheetos anyway.
Yeah, I like that.
What's going on in your world in dad life?
Well, end of school, exciting time. Summer is here. We had our kindergarten ceremony, for the moving on to first grade, which is great. And however many times a year you get into the school and get to see these teachers doing their thing. Every single time I'm amazed, whether I'm in there helping out, whether it's a chaperone situation or whatever it is. I'm always amazed because when I've either coached or just been tasked with, we had field day last week and you're tasked with executing some portion of their like fun day.
I don't know that I would use executing when I'm talking about running field day, because I didn't know where you were going with that. Like the losers get executed, or what? You're tasked with killing whoever loses, capture the flag.
I'm tasked with taking the lava game where you have to build the bridge or the hula hoops and we have to get everybody across, which I had to get that together, and you've got to get everybody's attention. You've got to get them in line, all this stuff. And then you see the teachers do it. How do you do it? She would just clap 3 times and everyone would just shut up and look perfectly straight ahead, or be like, just do one quick thing. And all of a sudden everybody's single file line. We're going to go to walk to La Rosa's. Like, what? It just works like that. They just do it. And I'm always just in pure amazement at how good teachers are at getting. I can't get my 2 kids to go downstairs without falling over a step or jumping on top of each other or some form of new parkour. But yet here they all are. They just kind of snap their fingers or clap and everybody shuts up, gets in the single file line and goes down to where they got to go be next. I am just in constant amazement at their ability to handle the chaos and all that they do. Huge tip of the hat to all teachers. It's unbelievable and please show me your ways.
Yes, give us a few of these hacks we can use.
We don't have to give all of them. I understand some of this is proprietary, but I mean, can I get a couple hookups, on whatever? Like, tell me about the clap thing. Like, I want to know how you clap 3 times and everyone just shut up and paid attention to you, because that was amazing to watch.
I volunteered in the preschool classroom, and I'll never forget the first time that I did that. And I saw my daughter putting toys away when they were done with playtime. I was like, she can do that? She can put her toys away? I've been trying to get her to do that at home for years, and she won't even try. Like, that's the magic. We need to steal from the teachers, take their powers.
Unbelievable.
In exchange, they can have summers off. Just give us a little something here.
Have you ever had to work a field day before?
I think that I volunteered. I think I just showed up to watch a field day. I've only done like the classroom parties and field trips and stuff, but I've blissfully only had to show up at field day just to throw in moral support. I didn't have to hand out popsicles or do the volcano bridge or what were you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's unimportant, but it's
all unimportant.
But it was fun, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of running back and forth, and the one group comes through, and I was like, I wasn't anticipating this much sweating for myself. But then after that, our little group of volunteers, we ended up in the Kona ice truck area, and this, he had to have cranked out 750, I don't know, however many kids there are, Kona ices. We formed an assembly line that would have made the people at GM jealous of volunteers. My job was literally just to take the cup of ice that Kona Iceman in the truck made, take it there, and then hand it to one of 2 parents, including one of them being my wife, who was next to me filling up the syrup. Now, the poor syrup people ended up with tiger's blood and purple raspberry all on their fingers from filling up, approximately 700 and whatever Kona ices. And then they had to pass it to the cup wipers who wipe down the cups from all the stuff that ends up on them. But I look over and they have, my wife's hands were purple for a day, and then the other parent, his hands were all red, and he looked like he'd come straight from a murder scene. Maybe that execution we were talking about earlier. I was like, this is not a good thing to come out looking like from your kid's field day, that your hands are all covered red. But it was unbelievable, and I was like, this is this is crazy. And I am still exhausted from it, to tell you.
You know what's a little bit easier? Pull the popsicle out of the freezer and open it and give it to like out of the cooler and hand it to the child. There we go. We're done.
Yeah,
or
kids love Kona Ice.
They do. Kona Ice is everywhere. I do think maybe you could get the parents that are bartenders to help volunteer on the syrup stations. They're probably a little bit better with those pours. They can do it a little bit more exacting.
Those things are messy.
They are
hard.
messy.
It's hard to get it all to stay inside the cup. It is.
I think the teachers know not to be involved in that process. They're like, let's get the parents on the syrup, make them take that. We're going to keep our hands clean in this situation.
Yeah, it was funny. I think there was a comment where like, oh, you guys are, we've never actually had people who do the Kona Ice Station 2 years in a row. No one comes back.
There's a support group.
No one signs back up for Kona Ice again. We're going to do it better this year. But
well, good on you for doing it 2 years in a row.
It was a great time. And the kids have a blast. And that's all that matters, Mark.
Yes.
For the kids. All right. That wraps it up. Thanks everybody for listening. Who Dey Light this week. We'll be back next week. Bengals are still we'll be down there on Tuesday. No expected press conferences this week, but we'll have open locker room and practices, OTAs roll on as we push forward towards phase 3. But anyway, we'll have all the normal stuff next week. So look forward to bringing that to you. And the Growler Podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up if you have any thoughts, questions, suggestions, business inquiries, you name it. We're here for you. So hit us up. All right, Mark, have a great Memorial Day weekend. I hope you have some flip-flop fun, and we will talk to you next time. Have a good one.
Yep.